Hey everybody, this is William Brooks with the first episode of this series, and we're going to be talking about urban sprawl. So a little bit about me first. My name is William Brooks. Like I just said, I'm from Archer Lodge, North Carolina, which is in Johnson County, about 45 minutes from Raleigh. I'm a junior in ag science at NC State. That's why I'm doing this project here, and I've really experienced urban sprawl firsthand from where I'm from, but I will get into that a little bit later. So the problem with urban sprawl is that urban sprawl is decreasing the available farmland for farmers, current farmers, and farmers in the next generations. With less farmland, it's obviously harder to produce food because with less land equals less room to work and less room to just farm in general. And another problem with urban sprawl is the threat it has towards the ecosystems, because changing of the land from the way the land has always been to a completely different way is a big problem for ecosystems, for sustainability, and things like that. And it's also a big change of a way of life for some, like I kind of mentioned earlier, for me, but more so for others. But I will get into that a little bit in a minute. So first off, we're gonna explain what urban sprawl is. I got the definition here. It's the uncontrolled expansion of urban areas. So like in these pictures, you can see how the neighborhoods are just butting up right to the farmland. So where the neighborhoods are now, it was just like the land that is in the picture. That's the farmland, but now it's just neighborhoods. So and urban, like I just said, urban sprawl is the encroachment of cities and towns on rural land. And I think it is one of, if not the largest problem for American agriculture, because it's happening all over the country, and especially where I'm from, and everywhere that's in a close proximity to Raleigh, and really a large problem in the southeast, and then also all over the country as well. So these are some facts that I had on what urban sprawl is, and I give y'all a little bit of time to read them as I explain them. But one that really stuck out to me was the first one here: scattered development that increases traffic, saps local resources, and destroys open space. Because that is basically what it does. And it's all the development is just, I mean, a lot of it is centralized, but then at the same time, it's this family decided to sell their land, so this farm down the road is now developed, and then there's maybe some land in between there, and then there's another neighborhood, and then another one spread out here and there. So it really is just kind of scattered. The changes in land use is another thing that urban sprawl is. It's a pattern of land use in an urbanized area that exhibits low levels of some combination of those right there, which are really detrimental to the land. The expansion of urban areas starts through a core, which, for example, would be Raleigh, and then disperses to individual development of new centers, which for me would be Clayton, and then you could go and say Fuquay-Varina and Garner, and just anywhere that's really close to Raleigh that's already a pre-established town. It just kind of makes it easier for that area itself to grow, and then it just spreads out even further, and then you start taking over more towns and more areas at the same time. So the next problem is, or after I've explained what urban sprawl is, I'm going to go into the decrease of available farmland that urban sprawl causes. And I really like this first quote here: conversion of land is usually irreversible. Once urbanized, agricultural lands are unlikely to be cultivated. Because like in this picture here, that's an example of farmland that's turned into development now, and it is obviously going to be very hard if this land ever did get sold or whatever, if it just wasn't a neighborhood anymore, to tear down all these houses, get all the wood, all the materials off of the land, and then also get the concrete or asphalt or whatever that the neighborhoods are on, because people don't like to live on neighborhoods in dirt or the field. So Gotta get all that concrete up, and then whatever has been laid down and soaked into the soil, and that's just not good for farming. It's really just, honestly, it's an impossible scenario to turn that neighborhood there and back into farmland what it was before. And then a major problem of that change of land is the erosion and runoff, soil quality, like I said, all those things. So the decrease of farmland still, like I mentioned earlier, the loss of land hurts farmers because no land equals no product, because you can't really put a product out with no land. And I also mentioned earlier that the southeast United States is at the most risk for urban sprawl because it's just, there are some large towns in the southeast, and then like I said, it just spreads out. And in this picture, you can tell a big highlighted area is Atlanta, Georgia, and then Raleigh, North Carolina is right there also. And you can see how it's just all kind of connected. Charlotte's a big one too, and it just slowly is lighting up around those cities. And then the thing is that around those cities is where all the agriculture takes place. So it's really kind of it's a very, very big problem. And then I've got this video here from OCED about urban sprawl. Okay, I don't really like the last part there about talking about how that the government should tax travel and parking and things of that nature. I really just believe that we should uh, communicate with our legislators and try and get something in order so that way that sprawl just doesn't get any worse, and it needs to be regulated because the way it is now, it's very, very easy to overload the roads and overload the schools and overload everything that goes into the community because a lot of the people in office and developers are making money off the development, so they really don't care about the quality of life that it brings to people that have been in the area forever. And not really, I mean, change is a good thing, but also at the same time, it's it takes you 30 minutes to go somewhere, it used to take you 10. It's really kind of detrimental to the way that you value your life where you live. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is the environmental impact of urban sprawl. soil contamination is a big thing because there's obviously more people and more cars, which means more emission and more things that those people put off, more trash, whatever. And that goes into all of the land, but then at the same time, there's not as much land as there was before. So all of those things are concentrated on whatever land is left. So that leaves the remaining land not very, not that it's not producive, but it just is harder to keep clean and stuff like that. I really like this graphic because it shows how 1 acre of parking lot and 1 acre of forest or farmland, that's supposed to say farmland, not wetland, but shows how the difference in the amount of runoff that goes into that, because obviously the water is not going to soak into concrete or asphalt as it would dirt or trees or what have you. This is an example of erosion in the middle of the field. All the water is concentrated. There's a neighborhood up the field here, and all the water is concentrated right into the middle, and then it just all runs out and pushes all that dirt away. So this matters to me because, like I said, I've experienced this at my house. I've seen family farms being sold that have been around forever, and it really does change the way of life because, as you can see, how close Clayton and Archer Lodge are to Raleigh. So people that want to work in Raleigh but don't want to live in Raleigh, they come to Johnson County and then move to Raleigh, or commute to Raleigh every day to go to work. But then they live in those areas, and they really just change the way of life. Like I said, the roads and schools and everything like that. I think that urban sprawl is a major problem to agriculture and really needs to be addressed, because the way it is now, it's not as regulated as I think it should be, and it's really causing a lot of stress on farmers, and that's our food source also, so we need to keep that in mind. It's not just farmers, it doesn't directly affect us, it does. We need to make the zoning decisions to keep in favor of keeping farmland in use and not developed, even though developing farmland is a much bigger moneymaker than farming is. So this is the last slide here. If y'all have any questions, you can talk to me on Twitter at UrbanAg2023, and I'll have videos out every Monday on Twitter. Thank you.